Hi guys, this is Tasnim. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you all what makeup used to look like from the 50s to the early 2000s. I took all the information from Google. If you want to see a desi version of this, then let me know in the comment section. And now let's get started. Starting off with the 50s was basically the highlight of the century, and you'll get to know why in a bit. So I started out with filling my brows in, and during the 50s the brows were filled in very naturally, so I just filled them in and conceal the edges to make everything look seamless. And then I went ahead with a pore filling primer, because during the 50s they would actually opt for a full coverage flawless base, which means that our base has to be perfect but full coverage. So after that I went with a satin matte foundation. This one is by L'Oreal. I don't remember the exact name, but I'll mention all the products I used in the description box below. And so I blended out the foundation using a buffing brush. For concealer, I went with my NYX concealer and blended it out using a buffing brush. Bronzing was pretty heavy during the 50s, so I'm just gonna apply it on my cheekbone, on the sides of my on my jawline, and also on the sides of my nose, along with my chin and on my temples as well. For blush, I went with a peachy sort of a blush. You want to make the blush prominent but not too much as well at the same time. For the eye makeup in the 50s, they would actually opt out for just a winged eyeliner. That was pretty much it. If you watch the movie Notebook, you'll know it, because Rachel McAdams always carried it. I'm comparing myself to Rachel McAdams. I don't know, I'm crazy. Okay. We will just pretend I never said that. Okay. Now finishing off the eye makeup using a bit of mascara, because falsies weren't a thing back then. And of course the classic red lip. This is where this classic red lip makeup look started. That's why I said that it's the highlight of the century. So I went ahead with some lip liner, lined my lips, filled them in, and then went ahead with a ColourPop matte lipstick. I don't remember the shade name. Again, it's gonna be mentioned in the description box. Topped it off with some gloss, because matte lipsticks again weren't a thing back then. And this is pretty much it for the 60s makeup look. I even tried to dress up like they did in the 50s, wore a pearl beaded necklace, tried to make my hair like that, and even wore a midi dress. In the 60s, the base makeup and the eyebrows were exactly the same as 50s. The eye makeup was different actually. For the eye makeup, they would do graphic eyeliner looks, which basically means you have to draw a liner on your crease and connect it to your upper lash line's winged liner. I thought this was something from 2020/2019, but it dates back really old. And for lipstick, I chose a new lipstick. This is the Balm's Trustworthy. I topped it off with Golden Roses lipstick in the shade 22 to give it a more brownish touch, and finally wore a gloss, because nude glossy lips was apparently a 60s thing. For my hairstyle, I did an opposite side partition with a poof in the back and wore a pussy bow top, and that's about it. 70s makeup. During the 70s, disco was very in, so we are gonna be doing smoky eyes and dark lips, because they wanted their makeup to pop in the disco. So I'm gonna be taking that light purple shade and place it on my crease using a blending brush, and then I'm going to dip into that dark purple shade and apply it on my outer corner using a smudging brush and blend it in using that same blending brush. I then packed the dark purple shade again and blended it off using a blending brush to get the maximum pigmentation. Digging into my Technique palette, from there I took that light purple shimmery shade and applied it to 1/3 of my eyelid from my inner corner using my finger, and then I took that dark purple shade and applied it to the center to mesh the matte shade and the light shimmery purple shade together, and blended it off using a smudging brush, all the shimmers, and I blended off the crease using a big blending brush. For my lower lash line, I took that light purple shade I applied on my crease and applied it all the way through to make it smoky. Finally finished off the eye look using some mascara on my top and bottom lashes and a haircut stuck in between. I already did my base makeup off camera. I'm just gonna apply my blush over here. I took a hot pink shade and applied it all the way through from the apples of my cheeks to my cheekbone, and make sure your blush is very pigmented. And now for lipstick, I lined my lips at first with a red lip liner and then went ahead with my Smashbox lipstick in the shade Brick something. I'll mention it in the description box or on the screen. It's a glossy finish. It will give you a glossy finish and is also perfect for the disco themed makeup. 80s makeup. During the 80s, people would love to go to the beach and the makeup would be very neon and sunset inspired. For that, I took that yellow shade on my crease and then took those two orange shades and applied it to my outer corners. I applied it using a smudging brush. Blended it with a small blending brush. Then I took a hot pink shade and applied it to 1/3 of my eyelid. These are the colors you can usually see during a sunset, and I applied it twice so that I have maximum pigmentation and blended overall using a yellow eyeshadow. I then placed a loose gold glitter on the center of my eyelid to give that beaming effect, and then finally I took a turquoise shade and applied it to my lower lash line and highlighted my inner corners. I forgot to show those shades, so I'm really sorry. I applied some mascara to finish off the eye look. I did my base makeup off camera because there was nothing to show actually. For blush, they would go very heavy handed and would drag it all the way to their cheekbone, and for lipstick it would be very coral, so I took the Balm's Trustworthy and mixed it with a Isabella DuPont's lipstick in the shade 602 to give me some nice corally lips. And this is about it for the makeup. For the hairstyle, they would do a high upside ponytail and a neon t-shirt. The 90s. If you're a 90s baby, comment down below. But in the 90s, people would literally shave off their brows, wax their brows, and do pencil thin brows. I know it's crazy, but I have bushy brows, so I tried my best to make them as thin as possible without making them look trashy. So yeah. And for base makeup, during the 90s, they would do a completely matte base, so I went with a pore filling primer. This one is by Smashbox, and then I went with my Wet n Wild foundation in the shade Desert Beige. I was literally scraping this product off because I ran out of it. After quarantine ends, I'm getting this foundation. But anyways, I blended it in using a buffing brush. It's one of my favorites, perfect for oily skin. And then I went ahead with some concealer. This one is by Makeup Revolution in the shade C10, and I was just blending it in using my buffing brush. For the eye makeup, something that was very popular in the 90s was smoky eyes, but I was gonna do dark lips, so it was gonna clash with my makeup, so I did a smoky upper lash line using a angled brush and a brown eyeshadow. So I was just packing it in and blending it in, that chocolate brown eyeshadow from my Colourpop Dream Street palette, and I also applied it to my lower lash line slightly halfway through and topped it off with some mascara. I know the lighting got really bad over here, but I was just bronzing over here. For blush, I went with something very subtle because blush weren't really a thing back in the 90s. And for lipstick, I went with a dark brown lipstick because this was something really popular in the 90s. If I look back at my mom's old photos, I can see her wearing this all the time. Even Rachel Green from Friends wore brown lipstick in season 1, 2, 3, 4 all the freaking time. For hairstyle, I did a half a habdo hairstyle using a scrunchie, wore a choker, velvet dress, very 90s themed, and that's pretty much it. lastly, the early 2000s makeup look. Comment below if you are a early 2000s baby, because I am. I was born in 2003. So for the eye look, I'm doing a icy eye look because during the early 2000s, icy eyeshadow was very in. So I packed in a white eyeshadow on my eyelid and blended it out using a blending brush. You want to continue to repeat the same step until you are satisfied with the pigmentation of the white eyeshadow. For the eyelid shade, I went with a silver eyeshadow and I applied it to 2/3 of my eyelid using my middle finger, and then I completed the eye look using some mascara. And now we will jump into the base makeup. For base makeup, I already applied my primer and foundation, the same one as the one I applied on the 90s makeup. For my under eyes, I went with the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade medium 25. It's very light because during the early 2000s, the concealer used to be under your eyes. It used to be very bright and light, so I went with the same thing. For bronzer, I applied it to my usual places, nothing harsh. You just want to keep it nicely blended and diffused. For blush, you want to go very heavy-handed. You want to apply it to the apples of your cheeks and drag it to your cheekbone so that it's very prominent basically. And then I'm going to finish off the eye look by applying the white eyeshadow to my lower lash line and also some mascara. For lipstick, I went with a mauve lipstick. This one is by Jeffree Star in the shade Androgyny. And then I applied some silver eyeshadow, the one I applied on my eyelid, on the center of my lips, and finally finished off lips using a lip gloss because during the early 2000s, mauve frosty lipstick was very in and I didn't have that shade, so I customized it. And that's about it for the early 2000s makeup look and for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'm gonna see you all next time. Love you all so much. Bye.